From the Matrix Home Solutions studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560, The Answer, online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, on TuneIn, iHeart, and radio.com.
Mike Madigan runs the Democratic House floor for 30-plus years running. He's promising this and he's stealing that. Where can you get that kind of money? He's using your house like his own piggy bank. You ought to know by now. You can pay off your house here in Illinois, but you can never keep up with the taxes. Oh, how it's always been the plan to have a taxpayer pay, no doubt. Not a matter of if anymore, but when. You're moving out.
Okay, we're a week from local elections here in Illinois. And have you heard about this prick running for mayor in Lisle?
I have.
I mean, literally. Just stopped to take a piss on the side of Reagan's house for Labor Day weekend, wrote Stephen Winz back in 2016. Stephen Winz, W-I-N-Z. This lout is running for mayor of Lisle. I mean, I have no idea if he has any chance of winning. I assume not, but he certainly shouldn't.
I hope not.
But he is a current village trustee. How did he get elected to village trustee?
Easy.
And he's a local 150 guy. He's an operating engineer.
There it is.
How about doing some character cleanup there, Jim Sweeney over at local 150? This guy also. I mean, this is not a spoof of The Fugitive. He got in a fight with a one-legged man in 2017 in Lisle, where he's a village trustee.
Who fights a one-legged person?
He also went on some tirade against police during his arrest for disorderly conduct in 2016. He threatened officers after they were called to a bar where he was accused of paying with a fake $100 bill. In the arrest report, Officer James Decter stated that the current Lisle trustee openly threatened officers. From the report, as we were leaving out the side door, Winz looked at me and stated, "I hope all the N-words kill you.
Canceled.
I swear to effing God, I hope they kill you all. Black Lives Matter." Oh, he's a great proponent of Black Lives Matter using the N-word.
No, he can use it, remember.
Why? He's a white guy.
Hey, he's part of that group.
Because he's a Lisle village trustee?
Right. Yeah.
This is a guy running for mayor of Lisle. Do Lisle residents know about this guy? He's a village trustee. This is what I'm talking about with local elections. Everybody wants to talk about every twist and turn at the federal level. How about protecting your backyard from goofs like this Stephen Winz guy? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, and he used the N-word and he's not canceled. That should have been the first thing. He should be canceled because
it's in a police report.
Yeah.
It's not like this is hearsay.
Yeah. This isn't alleged. This is in the report.
In River Forest, school board candidate dropped out. He shouldn't have, but he did. Scott Hall was running for school board in River Forest. And his union-backed opponent, of course she's a goon. Of course she's part of the Chardonnay Antifa. She's in River Forest, and she's backed by the teachers union. What else do you need to know?
Did you say Chardonnay Antifa?
Chardonnay Antifa. Yeah. She's got her P-hat permanently affixed. Sarah Ekman is her name. She is accused of, her and her supporters, of sending disparaging letters to her former opponent's employer, as well as to a local nonprofit preschool where he was on the board, saying that he shouldn't be allowed to substitute teach and this and that. I mean, the particular allegations are sort of secondary. That's the level of vitriol and viciousness at the local level.
Yeah.
Does anybody in River Forest know about Sarah Ekman's candidacy? Paying attention to that?
No.
Or you're too busy, waiting for the latest pronouncement from the CDC to govern your lives? I mean, another suburb that's been completely ruined by these cultural Marxists.
Agreed.
So I just say, a week before the election, school board, muni races, township races, Give us a call if you want to profile your race or a particular candidate. We'll take calls, and I'm sure Ted Dabrowski, our next guest, will have something to say about that too. He follows local governmental policy issues because, hey, power closest to the people, folks. Ted Dabrowski, president of WirePoint's, wirepoints.org, joins us for our weekly hit with him about all things Illinois, state and local. Ted, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good morning, Dan. Good morning, John.
Hey, how you doing? Ted?
You live in a area ruined by cultural Marxists too. So, would you care to weigh in on local races?
Well, I sure would. Yes, I have leafy suburbs, like you like to say. Look, I think what's missing in Illinois and in a lot of places is the ability of families or parents or the men, as you mentioned in earlier talks, to speak up and to get together. And if you look at the culture and it's run on Next Door Neighbor, it's run on Facebook. They're trying to cancel anybody who has an opposing view on COVID or on schools or on critical race theory. And what we need to see more of in these neighborhoods is small groups pop up who are willing to defend and speak up. And in our neighborhood, we have something called New Trier Neighbors, and I'm a board member of it. Just for all openness, I'm a board member of it. But what we've done and what the group has done is just spoke up against a lot of these things, and it's been very, very effective. And it really ticks off the ruling class because they don't want any pushback. But a group like New Trier Neighbors, and there should be one in every community, gets together. They come up with what they think are things being done wrongly in these schools, for example, whether school closings or the critical race theory, teachings and all that, and pushing back. And it's been very, very effective. We need more of it.
And Ted, wait, first of all, was that you singing the song that we came into?
No, he does not have that kind of voice.
That wasn't Ted.
Not the dulcet tones.
I thought it was Dan.
No, not me either. No.
But when you think about that, you guys are not afraid. The problem is we have a lot of these communities like yours that they're afraid to come out and voice their opinions because of the backlash. What would you say to those people who? Because I'm telling you, even down where I live, there's a lot of white people who are frustrated and flustered with what's going on in Joliet, but they're afraid. So what would you say to those people that are afraid of the backlash and possibly losing their job because the Karens are calling people's jobs and getting them canceled from the jobs and things of that nature?
Well, don't get me wrong. We get tons of backlash here. We just roll with it. The key thing is people got to get started, right? It takes takes 2 or 3 or 5 people getting together and willing to pen something together and speak up, right? It's hard when one person goes alone.
Right.
But when a few people get together, they realize that there's more than one person, and it's harder to attack them. Number 2, the key thing is, don't be nasty in the way we attack, right? The nastier we are, the more we create more fighting, more vitriol, and it doesn't work. What you have to do is be firm, be honest, be direct, hold your back, straight, but don't enter into the bad words and the stuff that the other side does. And if you do it well and just bring out reason and bring out data, always data, facts, bring out the facts, they start to work, and people start to realize that things aren't, or things are, well, you can say honest things and not be killed for it. That's the whole point.
Mm. Right. Give us a bit of a policy update on K through 12 education in the context of COVID here locally. I mean, we know what's happening nationally, and there's still this clinging to sort of the lockdown mentality by the CDC. But most states are starting to release their grip. Illinois is one of the more reluctant ones.
Yes, I was in Florida last week, as I mentioned on the last call we had, and there. What's amazing is, let me just give it a quick update there. When I arrived there, the news was big that Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, was rejecting critical race theory in the classroom. So he struck that from any chance of it being in the curriculum, and that was big news there. The other big news, of course, is that he's had schools open for months, and they're required to be open 5 days a week. Of course, if you need online classes, and of course you have the right to have that, but otherwise the schools are mandated to be open.
And the other big news is he's rejecting vaccine passports out of hand.
That's right. And so if you look across everything, right, he's kept businesses open. It was just fascinating to be there. That people after a year of this thing are calibrating their own risks, they get to figure out what risk they want to take and what risk they don't want to take. So you have, stores that don't require masks, but people are wearing masks because they feel like they should. And, vice versa. You have other stores where you don't have to wear them at all and people aren't wearing them. So people get to decide for themselves what risk they want to take, and that's how it should be at this point. And then when it comes back to schools here in Illinois, no, we're still hanging on to this we're still closed in many places. Sadly, places like Evanston. Oh, this is another big thing that DeSantis did. He looked at the learning gaps. 62% of kids in Florida are low income or minority. And he said that we can't afford to have them have bigger learning and, of course, future bigger earning gaps. And so he has prioritized the kids and using the science and data to say we need them in school. We've done the opposite thing here, right, with Chicago public schools being largely closed for so long and only recently opening partially, and Evanston, never opening. And these are the places where they're paying out reparations, and yet they won't help the minority kids get back in school. So I think we're still having a battle here. We're making the 6-foot rule move down to 3 feet, and that should allow places like New Trier, where I am, to open up 5 days a week and be open. Some places are doing it, but it's still slow to happen.
And on the vaccine distribution piece of it, there's this rolling coverage of the preferential treatment of, the clouding of vaccines over at Loretto. I mean, everything gets clouded here. I love the feigned surprise. Oh my gosh, the political ruling class is wiring the system for their benefit. Oh, this just in, breaking news.
Right.
But when with supply no longer being a problem, why do we even care? Why are we still segmenting this? I mean, other than by age and moving down quickly, but supply's not an issue. I mean, in countries like Serbia, they're not worried about borders. They're not worried about even cohorts. They've got all the supply they need. Let's just get it done.
Yeah.
Well, it's still a problem here, right? I was looking this morning. I have a piece coming out on Florida versus Illinois later today, I think it will be. And, we've still only, for fully vaccinating, only 44% of our 65 and older have been vaccinated. That's 38th worst in the country. So we're still way behind. And again, our focus should be on the elderly and the fact that Loretto and you've got this is all tying in state representatives in this whole thing. Why are we doing all this stuff? It's because we're a corrupt city, corrupt state, and we keep doing the same things that we've always done. And this line jumping is just indicative of why we have to have a little less government in Illinois, not more. But we're still way behind, and we should still continue to prioritize the elderly because they're the ones who die.
Yeah, well, exactly. But I mean, I guess this is a way to try to drive the point home to a lobotomized, to an electorate that the preponderance, if not the majority, is just completely lobotomized. Here is how corruption works. When it reaches every crevice of your existence, then it can actually cost lives, like in the case here with vaccine distribution. I guess it's sort of like I don't know. I'm cynical, but like if I can't get you to care about your kid's education or your home value, you sort of got me. If I can't get you to care about some politician saying my life isn't more important than your life with respect to a vaccine, that I sort of throw up my hands, Ted. I don't know.
Well, yeah, and it's I've been talking a lot to some of the Black Caucus members, and there's the housing issue, the property tax issue. There's some big issues that we know exist in Illinois, and I those are all tied into the failed policies overall that the state does. But what's fascinating is a lot of them didn't know that we still allow double dipping. The Wilmette superintendent who retired 2 years ago has been double dipping the last 2 years, taking half-time superintendent jobs and getting another $100,000 plus in salary. And you wonder where the money goes. You wonder why property taxes are so high. You wonder why people are leaving, and nobody can connect all those dots that you just mentioned, right? Tie them all together, and it means people leaving, higher property taxes, tougher job prospects. It's a downward spiral we're in.
Hey Ted, but when it comes to property taxes, I mean the Black Caucus, most of their districts are in Chicago. They don't feel the pain of property taxes like somebody like me out in the Joliet, Minooka area. So I really think they need to rethink that issue and focus more on protecting our police. That's just my 2 cents.
Well, yeah, that's a big thing. I think it's what's fascinating about the South Cook and the areas that have been really hit is that, we talk about how high property taxes are. And they are, like, when you look at the effective tax rates of how much taxes you pay versus the value of your home, it's somewhere in the 5, 6, 8%.
Yeah.
It's like crazy. It's confiscatory. However, what people don't realize is that the reason those rates are so high is because home values have collapsed to levels like $10,000, $15,000. And when your house is worth nothing, well, then the tax rate's going to be really high. And the real problem is that those places are not viable anymore.
Sitting vacant.
And again, all these failed policies have just destroyed these cities.
All right, let's take a couple calls on local races. Stick around, Ted. You may have something to weigh in here. By the way, on Lyle, I got a message. He is known, that Steve Wynn's guy. He's known as Mayor Whiz. That's pretty good. Around here, he's a regular at 3 bars in Lyle. He's a well-known drunk, clearly. And you know what? The woke crowd in Lyle working very hard to get him elected. Lyle tax rates are outrageous. They love that. So there you go. Steve Wynn's in Lyle. Mayor Whiz? Really? Lyle. Vince in St. Charles, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, guys. I have a question about the St. Charles race. There's new people running, and I don't know nothing about them. I'm trying to find out. One wants to sell the municipal building, one don't. Does it matter? What do you think?
I don't know, Vince.
I don't know.
I haven't looked at St. Charles. I'll have to look at St. Charles and get back to you. Dawn in Plainfield.
Hi, good morning. So my personal experience with schools is my twins were never placed in a general education setting. So, no, I'm not going to apologize for advocating for change because these districts are blind to how they treat kids with autism and other disabilities. So I want to encourage other parents. Now other parents who have kids in gen ed, they're realizing now how school boards and administrators, they don't do what's right for the kids. So I would encourage other parents, too, if you're in Plainfield, to go to 202choice.com, vote for those candidates. I actually had a candidate who's backed by a union respond to me on a Facebook page on kids with special needs that school choice was a moot point. Well, let me tell you something. When you've been told by a principal that your child doesn't belong in a classroom because they have autism, where are they supposed to go? So, no, don't apologize. Don't ever put your tail between your legs. Advocate for your child. You know what is best for your child. Thank you.
Thanks for the call, Don. And Ted, any updates on the tax credit scholarship program that is under assault by J.B. Pritzker?
I don't have any local one. I did see a great article that is in the Wall Street Journal about how COVID has helped spawn more school choice. Most in particular, West Virginia, right, a poor state, and they're making it pretty universal. So it's pretty impressive.
Ted Dabrowski, President of WirePoint's, wirepoints.org. Ted, thanks as always.
Thank you.
And he joined us on the Turnkey.Pro answer line.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
I am 78 years old and have a bad back, bad knees, bad everything. If I didn't take Balance